Hello, my name is James Hunter, and this is a My Two Cents channel where I talk about wellness and fitness related topics from mental health to physical fitness and topics of interest. And today I'm going to talk about diet and a few things about diet and nutrition and being successful. And one of the things I'm going to hit on in this video will be the need to have a mental shift and how you view your relationship with food in order to be successful. And I'm going to hit on that one area. And the other area I'm going to hit on is going to be some of the, the basic key ideas or strategies I use to be successful when I'm on a diet. And I want to, mention in this video that I understand there's a lot of people who have goals that may not be exactly the same. So our motivation for why we get on a particular diet is going to vary and be different, and I'm going to discuss that. So with the term diet, when we hear that, we think of, sometimes, some of you may think of someone eating a salad, or maybe they're just hungry all the time, they don't, they're starving, if you will. So a diet, that term was never intended to necessarily imply meaning eating less or a lot of restriction of food. Rather, it's just a particular way of eating, as mentioned before. So for me, I think of, my food intake as far as targeting foods that are low in calories but are very dense in nutrients, so I'm getting more bang for my buck. So in terms of a food volume standpoint, I'm eating plenty throughout the day. I'm currently training for a bodybuilding contest this summer, which I'll be 48 for. And I'm going to hit on that in this video, but let's get in this my contest rather, as far as some progress videos I'll be doing. But let me hit on a few things here real quick. So this is not necessarily have to be overly complicated. I could go into bioenergetics, the body's energy system, if you will, Krebs cycle, and kind of talk about more of those academic book terms when you talk about the phosphagen anaerobic system. All the way into glycolysis, and then all the way into the oxidative part of the system, or aerobic, where we start to feel shift from burning glycogen and carbs to now burning fats. And that has to do with our metabolism and how we basically metabolize energy substrates, fats, carbs, and even protein. If you're starving, you could break down protein, but you don't want to do that. That's a side issue, a different video. So there's a lot that can be said about that, and it's important to understand the body's metabolism. These things actually, make diets make more sense when you get a strategy. So I'm going to kind of hit more on that towards the end of this video, and I'll put a link to another video I made about metabolism below. So what do I think about in my diet? Sugar is nothing new. We've all heard about, sugar is something we need to avoid. I say no sugar, or really to minimize sugar. They put sugar in so much of our food products these days. It's really ridiculous. And well, how do you minimize your sugar intake? So let's talk about foods real quick. So for me, when I was younger, and I started really focusing on, modifying how I eat, because I started to make the connection that your diet is pretty much everything as far as your body composition goals. So I like spaghetti. So I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to buy lean ground turkey instead of beef. And that's what I still do. I get the 99% fat-free lean ground turkey. So that's my meat that I'm going to use in my spaghetti. And then I'd get the spaghetti sauce. And then you could get the egg white noodles, if you will. There's other options that are not going to be as, as not starchy and so on if you're trying to lean up. So I would make my spaghetti and feel good about myself. And I was like, man, I'm doing a good job. But something just didn't seem right. Well, that spaghetti sauce, that's what I'm going to talk about as far as where sugar can get you in places you don't suspect if you're not paying attention. So spaghetti sauce, whether it's ragu, pick a brand name out there. I'm not going to name drop brands. You get the idea. Flip that nutrition label over and take a look at that. We're going to talk about that nutrition label too. So look at your sugar, your grams of sugar per serving. And I'm not kidding. One brand name at the local grocery store where I live at, where I do my food shopping, one brand name of spaghetti sauce has 20 to 22 grams of sugar per serving. And so you have almost three, and it says 2.5, almost 3 servings in one jar. And I'm talking about an average sized jar of spaghetti sauce. So in that 1 jar of spaghetti sauce, you're going to have close to 60 grams of sugar in just a jar of spaghetti sauce. So when I'm pouring that into my healthy spaghetti I'm thinking I'm making, well, shit, I'm doing good with the meat. You know, that's a good choice, the 99% fat-free lean ground turkey for my protein. But I'm dumping a lot of sugar in there with the spaghetti sauce and I screw it up. So what I have done, if I want to make spaghetti, I'm going to look at all the nutrition labels, and the brands that have the least amount of sugar are going to get my money. So there's a brand, Hill Country Vegetable Marinara Spaghetti Sauce in Texas at HEB, and it has 2 grams of sugar. 2 grams of sugar per serving. So you got less than 6 grams of sugar in that entire jar. So really when you divide that up into your servings, it's not a lot of sugar, because you're gonna make the spaghetti. For me, I cook for 2, so for my other half. So that is a much better option. I'm minimizing sugar. Makes a huge difference. That adds up through your meals throughout the day. So for example, cottage cheese. I like cottage cheese, helps get that good protein, build the muscle. So when I buy cottage cheese, same thing. I punish the brands that put a lot of sugar by not giving them my money. I'm like, screw those guys. So whoever puts the least amount of sugar added, and just as the minimum amount, they win. They get my money, and they get my business. So same thing, cottage cheese, spaghetti sauce, and so on. So you will see this play out in a lot of food products. You got to watch out for sugar. A lot of you individuals out there who may have competed in bodybuilding and who are really seasoned veterans as far as body composition, and you have a lot of mastery in that area, this is nothing new to you. You understand that. So for people who perhaps you're just beginning to have a goal of exercise and working out, and you're trying to find out what's the deciding factor to take it to the next level. How come this guy at the beach has the 6-pack and I can't ever get it? How come this person at the gym, they just seem to have that leanness about them all the time, and I'm on I'm doing everything, I'm working out, I'm doing cardio, but I just can't seem to get there. Well, if you haven't really paid attention to your sugar, that's an area you may want to start looking at. Fruit is good for you, but be careful with fruit. Fruit is a sugar too. A banana, you don't necessarily have to have 5 bananas a day. Maybe half an apple, some peanut butter on it, which I may do time to time. But you got to think of your energy balance. If you're in a positive energy balance, you're taking in more calories from food than you're going to expend, and then on top of that, you're consuming a lot of sugar and so on. You're just really shooting yourself in the foot. If you're in a negative energy balance, meaning you're in a deficit on purpose, you're consuming less calories, and then you're expending an energy every day. You're in a deficit to help you lose weight. You may have more wiggle room to get away with the occasional sugar indulgence, more so than you could if you're in that positive balance. So that's a few things on the food. A lot more you can say about sugar. I mean, sugar is just, especially the processed white sugar, that stuff is bleached, and that's another issue. But let's move on to food, beverages. So I'm doing better with not eating foods that have a lot of sugar. We are not done there. I've known people that were drinking a lot of orange juice, and they'd be like, James, isn't orange juice good for you? I'm like, well, yeah, an orange can be good for you, freshly squeezed oranges and so on. But when you go to the store, get a brand name of orange juice, flip it around, look at the nutrition label, and you will see where it says added sugar. They add a shitload of sugar into orange juice, which it already has, going to have some natural sugars anyway, because oranges have sugar, simple carbohydrate. So juices and things like that, apple juice, orange juice, they add a lot of sugar into these beverages, which naturally are going to have sugars to begin with. So that right there is going to sabotage you. You're going to get fat. So that's one example. Now the next one, everybody should know by now who has a TV, a radio, or has paid attention to any type of program that discusses these issues, is sodas. Mountain Dew, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper. Pick one. They're all culprits in this issue as far as being loaded with sugar. You know, one Mountain Dew can have 75, 85 grams of sugar. I'm not exaggerating. When I was a kid growing up, a soda would have 35 grams, maybe 40 grams of sugar. And now, these days, it's like double that. It's crazy. So yeah, if you're doing that, you're not serious. You know, you're not serious about getting lean, losing weight. Whether you're someone who's obese, trying to lose weight, to, you know, for a health primary reason, it's always for your health. I don't care where you're at. I work out, exercise, and eat well for my health, number one, even though, yeah, I'm doing a competition, but my health is priority. And if you're someone who's overweight, your motivation may be, let's say you've been suffering from diabetes type 2 symptoms, late adult onset, and you're trying to reverse that. So you're like, you may not even be thinking about competitions, you just want to stay healthy, and that's totally understandable. So it doesn't matter in either situation, these principles are going to be true, the sugars. So you got to watch out for that. The next one down here, and there's a lot, guys, that I could talk about, but these are some basics I do, is bread. You know, it's unbelievable, well, at least I won't say unbelievable, it depends on where you live and the culture, but, you know, people say, I need to lose weight. You know, I don't know why, you know, I can't lose any weight, or my stomach is smooth and fat, I'm not making any progress. But then I notice that they're eating bread, and at least two of their meals per day, they have bread with their breakfast, bread at lunch. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? I mean, it's ridiculous. So flour again, so bread. I don't eat bread if I'm on a diet, if I'm trying to get lean and so on. I don't do that. So right now, it's April the 7th, and I haven't had bread all year, 2019. I haven't had a damn piece of bread, and that's okay. I don't need it. I'm drinking some coffee right now. I'm good with that. And I've eaten plenty today. Omelet. I've had some cottage cheese. I'll probably do some chicken later today. Had some badass turkey loaf yesterday, so I'm eating plenty. And yesterday was my carb day. I had sweet potato. So I'm eating plenty, but I'm not eating any damn bread. So it's just one of those things. You want to have an omelet, you have the omelet, but don't do the toast, okay? Just something about bread. You know, my observation is, you could call it anecdotal or just look at the facts, is that bread is technically a carbohydrate, and so if you're going to do high protein and low carb, get quality whole food carbs. Don't be getting freaking bread. So anyways, I'm just going to leave that one there. No to bread, okay? And down here in the third one is whole foods. Whole foods really, you know, I hear the term, or I use it, is eating clean. So clean eating. Clean eating to me is like chicken breast, right out of the package from the grocery store, cottage cheese, things of that nature. I am essentially cooking my meat. I'm not getting anything out of a can that's overloaded with sodium and preservatives and things like that. Anything that's overly processed, you know, you get the idea. You know, it's eggs, turkey, chicken, fish. I don't do any red meat really, except maybe if I'm doing a competition like I am this summer, I'm not doing red meat. I get creatine monohydrate. I supplement it, so I don't have to eat steak or red meat for that reason. So, and not only that, it's got more calories, and the assimilation of the protein is better from eggs, chicken, and so on. Red meat's just a bit more work to have to break down, and what you actually get out of it. So anyways, you get it whole foods, same thing. The sweet potato, bake it in the oven. I do a lot of, like if I do a salad, bell peppers, green and red bell pepper. I like squash. So I'm eating a lot of just good whole foods. Very clean, very simple. I can be creative. I can get stuff a red bell pepper full of lean ground turkey meat, put some spices in there, and be creative. You don't have to eat exactly the same thing all the time. You can be creative, get different combinations in how you prepare your foods. So whole foods is very important. If your food is coming at you through a window, you know, fast food, if it's coming out of a can, you know, it's just one of those things. It's not going to be an ideal situation if you're just trying to get, you know, fit, and this, not only that, just healthy in general. So, all right, let's move down here to correct ratios of the macronutrients. Now, I say correct because, you know, there's no one size fits all, but correct for you, whatever your goal is. So if you're trying to build muscle and lean up and reduce body fat, what I'm doing right now is a high protein, low carb, and I essentially am doing a form of carb cycling. I ate carbs yesterday, just a sweet potato. I'm not going to eat carb today. I'm going to do protein and fats, for about 4 or 5 days. About 4 days, protein and fats, and then every 5th day I'll take in some carbs. I go by the mirror, see how my abs are still showing, or if I need to pull it back more because I need to get more body fat off me, then I'm going to bring my carbs down even a bit more. But I'm not totally abolishing carbs. I'm getting some carbs every week. So that's not an exact one size fits all for everybody. You're going to have to tweak that based on how learning your body and how you respond. Particular to people who already achieve their goal of getting where they want to be and they're happy with that, then carb cycling method is good just to kind of stay within the range of where you want to be. But if you're a 300-pound guy and you're obese or you're heavier than that, then you may do something like keto, just protein and fats only for a good period of time. And then once you stabilize and you're healthy as far as got things under control, then you may over time start lifting weights, or if you haven't already started lifting weights, you may start incorporating a bit of carbohydrate at that time. So it's going to be different for everybody. So it's going to be ratios, macronutrient ratios that are appropriate for you. So the high protein and low carb, there's also the low fat diet. Used to be the big craze in the 90s. You'd see all these food labels say, low fat or no fat. The thing is that over time, just from the calorie restriction, you're going to lose weight, but the high protein, low carb is actually more effective to get you to lose weight quicker from the onset. So those are just a few things. There's a lot more that can be said. So anyways, that's pretty much what I do when I'm on a diet. It's not complicated. For me, I just stick to it. And how do I do something like this? It just seems so freaking boring, right? Man, you just eat chicken breasts all the time, or you eat a turkey loaf, or the omelet, the sweet potato, the white rice. Well, here's what it boils down to. You look at photos of people's food preps, on Instagram, Facebook, in social media, you'll see it. You see a lot of the same stuff. It's just what it is. So how do you deal with that? It boils down to what you value and making a mental shift with your relationship to food. And that's what I'm going to talk about right now. At my age where I'm at, I've done diets for bodybuilding contests, and some of them have been a little bit more challenging than others. As each time I do it, it's easier because I've been there mentally before. So it's basically like flipping a mental switch. I've made up my mind. I'm doing this, and it's not going to bother me. It doesn't bother me at work when someone offers me, donuts in the morning. James, look at these donuts, And, they're just trying to be funny, but, I say, no, thank you, I'm good. And, it's what it is. It literally doesn't bother me. I don't get cravings, and I don't get tempted. And a lot of people fail with sticking to a diet because they cannot manage or handle cravings. They get a craving, they just I have to have it, I have to eat it. They have these permission statements they're telling themselves. Now, is there a physiological craving? You can talk about the brain and dopamine and things like that compels behavior from a physiological sense. We know just from studying addiction with other types of situations of chemicals, we know that there is a component of that. It can also be related to behavior and food as well. But there's a balance with a lot of things. I don't care if it's sex, food, alcohol, some particular drug somebody became physically dependent on, or something compulsively they became dependent on, like gambling, for example. The bottom line is this. There is a perception and a behavior that's tied into everything that allows it to continue or allows it to happen. So with food, I can stay on a diet for as long as I need to accomplish a goal. I started my diet January 2nd, actually, and I'm on it now, and I'll be on it till the summer, and I complete my competition, and then I'll kind of, modify things differently with more flexibility. But the reason I'm able to do it is because I'm able to redirect my thoughts and in such a style to where my values reinforce my ability to not sweat it and not have stress over it. So if your relationship with food, in terms of how you value that situation, is all about pleasure, if you tie it into emotions, coping, some people use the term comfort foods and so on. Well, if you don't have a plan to get other adaptive skills, different coping skills or mechanisms, good chances are you're going to fail. You're going to revert back to abusing food or not staying on a diet plan. Most people who can't do a bodybuilding contest, who have good physiques, who like to work out, I love working out. That's the easy part. The lifting weights is the easy part. The challenging part is, well, there's other aspects, the posing and all that, but the behaviorally speaking, the diet part is what separates the men from the boys. Figuratively speaking, or women from the ladies from the girls, whatever. So that's what separates that situation, is the ability emotionally, the maturity, and the discipline to stay on a diet. So for me, when I'm on a diet like I am right now, my relationship with food is this. It's a means to an end to accomplish a goal that I set for myself, and because I have placed value on the completion of that goal, and it is meaningful to me in a spiritual sense, in a journey type of sense, something that I set out to do. And from that standpoint, just knowing that I am on a journey to complete something, it is the total picture, the totality of my life as far as having goals. That reinforces me being able to redirect any craving. In fact, you can extinguish them over time because you are beating them, not feeding into them, or enabling it by giving yourself a reason to give in. Every time you get past a craving, you get stronger, and it diminishes in its effect each time it happens, or each time you get a trigger, if you will. It has a diminished effect every time you get past it. So at this point in my life on diets, somebody can be eating pizza, a cheeseburger in front of me, a fudge sundae, cheesecake, and it's not going to matter. I'm okay, and I'm good with myself. It's not a big deal. I'm going to continue doing what I'm going to do until it's time for me to not have to be on my diet anymore, and then I can be flexible again. So that is really a mental shift. It's something that you got to, when I do it, when I know I'm going to get on a diet, I mentally prepare myself, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this, here I go. And then within that first week, it's a transition, and then I'm good. I know I'm going to eat a particular way. It's not a problem. What are your thoughts, if you're watching this video, about that situation? Do you agree with that? My philosophy is it's individual, and this is not about, oh, I'm better than you type of thing. It's just that people are different in how we cope with things. We have different coping skills. So because of where I'm at in my life and where I'm able to shift my relationship to food, I'm able to make the adjustment to be successful and not be triggered to have cravings or give in, or not be able to manage that situation. I eat throughout the day, I stay full, and I am fine. So with regard to that value system again, can you be someone who does what I just said, to where it becomes more about and a means to an end? You're going to accomplish your goal, so it becomes less about the other stuff. Does that mean you can't ever have a relationship with food where it's about pleasure or happiness and enjoyment and having a good time? No, absolutely not. But like with other things, it's about balance. So with me, you bet your ass I'm going to eat pizza, I'm going to have a fudge sundae, cheesecake, and I'm going to drink me a cold beer here and there. But that's going to happen after my contest, and I know that will take place again, and so I don't have anxiety over that. So that balance with a relationship with food and being able to adjust it accordingly, that's what's going to make you successful. Okay, so with me right now, I'm going to talk about what I've been doing to prepare for a bodybuilding contest. I'm going to do some progress videos, and right now, the lighting here may not be the best, but I'm pretty lean right now. I'm pretty lean right now as far as my body fat. Just dropped some markers on the ground, that's all right. So with where I'm at, I probably am around single digit. single digit on the high end, not the low end yet, and that's okay because I still have time to make adjustments, and I don't want to cut too fast, too early before the contest, because I want to be able to maintain as much muscle as I can before I get that lean for the week of the contest. I've been drinking fluids throughout the day, but you can see my sides. You can see my abs. I'm holding a lot of water right now. So they're there. Even after eating a bunch today and a lot of water, my abs are visible for all purposes. And this is like in the afternoon today. In the mornings, when you're a little bit lighter, you don't have as much water, there's tighter, abs show a lot more. So it's kind of like walking it back and forth with my carbs right now. As long as I can see them reasonable, then I'm fine with my carb intake. But I am going to get more aggressive when I'm about 4 weeks out. 4 to 3 weeks out, I'll start getting more aggressive with lowering my carb intake, keep my protein high, and I'll start get that hardened effect, more veiny, if you will. People use that term. And my stomach's going to freaking get tight, ripped, and shredded. I got a video from 2016, the last time I competed, and I was ripped. I was about 3-4% body fat if you go by a skin caliper. So anyways, those are some of my thoughts, guys, on some points, things I think about why I am successful on my diet, what works for me. Sugar, bread, whole foods, the correct ratios for your macronutrients that are going to support your goals. For me, every time I do a bodybuilding competition, I improve because I learned something from the last competition. So it's an adjustment. So when people ask me, can you give me a diet or what's the best diet, I have to laugh a little bit because it's like a loaded question because we're all different. It's more about figuring yourself out. For those of you who have body composition goals to get lean, ripped, or compete, and so on. If you're someone who's just trying to get healthy and lose weight, this all applies too. It's going to help you. So if you'd like to, please subscribe to my channel. Like the video, or if you have your own thoughts or comments, feel free to drop them below. I know this video's kind of gone on a bit. I don't want to keep it too long. But give me some of your thoughts or ideas in regards to this topic. There's a lot that can be said about nutrition and dieting to more specific goals. This video is a general one, so I totally get it that I know I didn't address every possible contingency or other what depends situations based on people's goals. I totally get that. So I will make more videos that are more specific about body composition specific goals for people who might be athletically inclined or competing in sports, and I'll do a different one for people that are just more about trying to lose weight, be healthy, and so on. Until I make another video, I hope you all have a good day. It's in South Texas today. We had a bit of a storm, blew in, knocked branches off my trees outside and everything, so I got to go clean that shit up. But now the sun's back out, and that's how it rolls in South Texas these days. Until I talk to you again, take care.